Last guy, Precious Achiuwa. The Knicks have signed another depth big, which to me feels like the thing that they probably needed to do most, right? On this roster. Precious there for 1 year, $6 million. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move. They needed to bring in some depth. I feel like Precious, was fine in his minutes with the Knicks this past season. I'm still a little bit nervous with the center position with New York. Like, I'm trying to really, really, really buy into this team, like crazily buy into them with what they've done and how they've constructed the roster. And every time I think about him, I'm just like, man, if Hartenstein would have stayed there, if Hartenstein was still there, if they would have replaced him with somebody that was even, I don't know, is Precious 80% of him? I don't think he is. Maybe he is. Maybe he averaged almost 3 offensive rebounds a game in his 49 games with the Knicks. I feel like he found his stride a little. Maybe he's going to be able to give them exactly what they need and just come in and finish and grab rebounds and do that. He's not the passer that Isaiah is. I don't know that he's the rim protector. So that's my hang up here. But if they don't have some other move that they just know they're going to make to shore up the center position, this was a good move. Got him at $6 million. So it makes sense to me to go ahead and bring him back.
Yep. I think that they had to bring him back. I think that is the thing that makes kind of the most sense, is just bringing him back and making sure that they have enough depth to like eat minutes. I think that just them having Precious, Jericho Sims, and Ariel Hookporty, I'm still a believer that like if they played Hookporty 500 minutes next year or something, that they probably wouldn't get eaten alive in those 500 minutes. You don't want to play him more than that. Like you want him to be your third or fourth big. But I think that he is like a perfect Tibbs big that will do what they want him to do, basically. He will rim run, he will protect the rim, he will set screens and do all of that stuff, right? So I don't know. I think that they can probably get the big thing is what happens if Mitch gets hurt again, right?
Yeah,
and that's like a real substantial problem with him. He tends to play so hard that he gets hurt.
That's what I was going to bring up is, 2 seasons where he played 30 games, a couple more that was right around 60. What if things don't go great with his health? And now you're starting, because I think Tibbs would do that. Like he would start Jericho Sims and I just love that team because when those two guys were healthy, you had 48 minutes of incredible center play. And maybe this is one thing where I eat my words with Precious. Maybe Precious is just perfect for what Tibbs wants from a center. Maybe he's just going to thrive for the Knicks and be perfect with the offensive rebounding. His block shots actually were the most of it any point in his career in those games with the Knicks. Maybe he just found a home and he's going to be able to do that and even into the playoffs. So hopefully he makes me eat my words here and him and Mitchell Robinson are able to create that duo. And like you said, there is some other depth in terms of Jericho Sims, Hookporty. Like maybe they're able to just piece it together. And then if things are healthy, right? If Mitch Rob is healthy, then they feel like they're in a really good spot. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder like in the playoffs, what happens? Here's my question, Sam. When a team starts to double Jalen Brunson, and what center are you going to that can make the right reads out of that double team? Who are you putting at the top of the key when Brunson gets doubled and is going to be able to short roll pass or make a short roll floater the way Hartenstein was able to?
So I'll answer this question like secondarily here. The way to think about the Knicks center position is you basically need 4,000 minutes, right? You need 4,000 regular season minutes to eat up at the 5, right? Mitchell Robinson has never played more than 1,800 minutes in a season. So let's go at the peak and say 1,800 minutes for Mitchell Robinson, right? Let's say they have to play 300 from Hookporty. Let's say that, Jericho Sims ends up playing 800, right? That gets you to 3,000 minutes. Right? You have 900 minutes there. You still have to eat up. 900 to 1,000 minutes. You still have to eat up. Precious can eat 900 minutes in a season, I think. But the other option that we haven't talked about here is Randall playing the 5. And Tibbs has been averse to doing that at this point. But that was before you had to find minutes for both Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, on top of Josh Hart as well, who will eat minutes at the 3 in all likelihood. I am betting that we see more minutes of Julius Randle at the 5 than what is maybe expected of this.
I hope so. Like, I hope so. I just know what would happen if I brought that up. And because anytime I do, people Tibbs won't do that. Tibbs isn't going to do that. He's not going to play. He's not going to go small. He's not going to play. I would love to see that. But that's why his history is why I hesitate to bring it up.
I get it. I get why people would be hesitant to bring it up given his history, right? Like, completely rational and reasonable to think that, he's not going to play, right? He's not going to play the 5. If he doesn't play the 5 ever, you're starting him at the 4, Mikal at the 2, Anunoby at the 3. Dante and Josh are coming off the bench full time. Where do the minutes come from for Deuce then? Like, that's like 8 minutes a game for Deuce, probably. I just feel like they're going to have to play Randle at the 5 a little bit just to get all these guys that are their best players on the court at the end of the day. And again, these are in games where I'm assuming Mitchell Robinson misses at least 20 games, if not 30 games in a season, is like what should be the baseline at this point, given his injury history. We hope it doesn't happen. Like, we don't want Mitch to miss time. But to me, I am under the working assumption that to get all of their best players on the court, Randle is going to have to play a bit of the 5.
Yeah, again, I'm with it. I'm kind of looking back through previous Knicks seasons and how much B-Ball Reference says that he's played there, and it's just not very much. It's 3 or 4%. My thing, I'm not as worried about it in the regular season, to be honest, as I am in the playoffs. Like, I think for them to go where I think they can go in the playoffs, I think Randle at the 5 needs to be an option to get the players you're talking about. OG on the floor, Bridges who do you think their 5 best players are? And I know this isn't always
Their 5 best players are Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Julius Randle, and I think I would say Dante. I would also accept Josh Hart as an answer.
I think I agree. And then whenever you add in the context of playing an actual basketball game and guys fitting together, I think there's even more of an argument for Dante, right? Because he spaces the floor so well. Correct. And I don't know that you have to have that, because obviously Mikal and OG can knock down shots, but that's very interesting lineup. Like, I like that lineup a lot with those guys. Or you could just go crazy defense and physicality and keep Josh Hart out there.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
And by the way, Tyler Kolek was awesome at Summer League, and he's just like not going to play. Like, yeah. I don't know where he gets time. Well, like, I think he can go, and like, he's just not going to play.
Thank God you brought up, Deuce, who was obviously awesome last year after whenever he started getting minutes. I mean, he was awesome, and it continued through. So, here's the point. This team's really good and really interesting. And if we're arguing and quibbling about the center position with all these different options, and that's a good spot to be in, I think, for the Knicks. I'm just interested to see how it plays out, and I would feel a little bit better if Hart was still there.
I would too.